The Importance of MISAMO. Hey guys, this video has been a while in the making. I was planning on releasing this before I even left for the Twice concert, but once again, that didn't happen. Then, after I got back, I thought I was getting sick, so I didn't really have the energy or motivation to finish and record the video, but hopefully I sound pretty normal, although a little sniffly. But now, after some time, I'm finally here to review MISAMO's first studio album, Play, as well as talk about their importance as a subunit. This is a long one. This script is literally 16 pages long. So strap in and grab some snacks. Who is MISAMO? Odds are, if you're watching this video or if you have any general knowledge of K-pop, you know who MISAMO is, or at least know Twice. In case you don't know, MISAMO is the Japanese subunit of the massively successful K-pop group Twice, a staple on this channel. Thank you to those who subscribe from the fan cam footage I've been posting. It's composed of its 3 Japanese members, Mioi Mina, Minato Saki-sana, and Hirai Momo. The unit's name is a simple blend of the first syllables of each of their names, Mi, Sa, and Mo, serving both as a representation for their individual identities as well as the chemistry they share as longtime teammates. Unlike other subunits with a similar naming convention, the MISAMO name is not in age order. That would be Mo-sami. I couldn't find any specific information as to why they chose MISAMO over the popular fan favorite Mimosa. Maybe because it has a direct tie to an alcoholic beverage, but then again, they're like grown. Maybe it was a copyright and trademark issue, who knows? But regardless of their name, each member brings a distinct strength that shapes the unit's dynamic. Mina contributes graceful vocals and a poised, almost ethereal presence. Sana adds warmth and charismatic charm, while Momo anchors performances with her powerful danceability and rhythmic precision. Together, they create a balance of elegance, playfulness, and performance power that distinguishes MISAMO from both their parent group and other subunits in the industry. Formed under JYP Entertainment, MISAMO debuted in 2023 with their Japanese mini-album Masterpiece, introducing with it concepts they would cover in their releases up to this point. They leaned into elegance and maturity in a more refined way than what we're used to from the broader group. While Twice is known for their sometimes bright and energetic hits, as well as occasionally mature topics in larger pop spectacle, MISAMO explores a slightly different artistic space, one that emphasizes sleek production, coupled with sophisticated visuals and themes of confidence, identity, and personal expression. Beyond simply being a side project, MISAMO has developed a cohesive artistic identity of its own. Through releases like Haute Couture and now Play, the trio has built what many fans view as a thematic trilogy, one that explores self-confidence, artistic growth, and the relationship between performers and their audience. This group allows the members to showcase new facets of their artistry while still carrying the legacy and global popularity of Twice. Play. Moving along to the main topic of this video, Play marks the first full studio album from MISAMO. Even though I think Haute Couture could have been considered the first one, but you know what, whatever. Arriving after the group's earlier releases, the album represents a major step forward for the unit, expanding their musical scope while also serving as the culmination of the artistic identity they began building with their debut mini-album Masterpiece and its follow-up Haute Couture. As the title suggests, Play embraces the idea of performance in multiple forms. The album treats music and identity almost like acts within a stage production, with notable moments where confidence and vulnerability take turns in the spotlight. Throughout the project, MISAMO explores themes of self-expression, individuality, attraction, personal boundaries, and empowerment, creating a narrative that feels both theatrical and deeply personal. Musically, the album showcases a wide range of styles while maintaining the group's signature elegance, from sleek R&B and bass-driven hip-hop influences to funk pop grooves and cinematic instrumentals. Each track highlights a different side of the trio's artistry. New solo songs allow the girls to build upon and emphasize their individual strengths, while the group tracks reinforce the chemistry and balance that define them as a unit. To me, this album feels like more than just a collection of songs. Play feels intentionally structured, almost like a performance unfolding scene by scene. The album moves between confident declarations of identity, playful explorations of attraction, and reflective moments that acknowledge the journey the trio has shared with their fans. By the time the closing track arrives, the record feels less like a traditional ending and more like a final bow after a carefully staged production. In that sense, Play doesn't just expand MISAMO's sound, it completes a chapter. As the trio's first full-length album, it solidifies their artistic voice while celebrating the elegance, confidence, and individuality that has defined their journey so far. So let's actually talk about the songs. Confetti. The album opens with Confetti. It stands as the radiant centerpiece and lead single of the album, functioning as the triumphant final chapter of their artistic trilogy following Masterpiece and Haute Couture. Where the earlier projects explored themes of boundaries and self-awareness, Confetti feels like the moment where everything aligns. The song frames life as an improvised play with no fixed script, acknowledging uncertainty not as something to fear, but as something to dance through. Rather than promising perfection or control, it celebrates adaptability and resilience to keep moving forward even when the scene changes unexpectedly. Lyrically, this track represents MISAMO at their most confident and self-assured. There's a sense of honest joy and peace, not naive optimism, but the kind that comes from experience and maturity. It's about choosing to celebrate every chapter of the story, embracing the chaos, the detours, and the unknown with open arms. That sense of freedom is mirrored in the production, which leans heavily into big band and jazz influences, giving the song big theatrical energy. The uptempo groove feels like the climax of a stage musical, where right before the curtains are about to fall, the performers give one final unforgettable number. By the time the song ends, Confetti doesn't just feel like a single, it feels like a curtain call, showering the listener in warmth and unapologetic joy. Speaking honestly, when I first heard the song, I wasn't the biggest fan. I felt that it was a strong departure from what I considered their concept to be. But after listening to the album all the way through, several times, I see now how I was wrong. In the context of the album, I feel the song works great. It has a double function as both an album opener, but also the closer of their trilogy of singles. In that sense, it truly does feel like a bow of sorts like I mentioned previously. So to me, this album feels like it opens with the ending. If you listen to it on loop like I have, going from the slower tempo of Message to Confetti feels like the final act of the story, making the next song feel like the beginning of it. Our next song is Immediately, it unfolds as one of MISAMO's most confident and sultry moments, fully embracing the thrill of intense attraction and unspoken desire. The song captures that instant when tension fills the air, where glances linger and heat rises. Suddenly, hesitation is out the window. Lyrically, it centers on the feeling of being undeniably wanted, portraying attraction as something magnetic and almost addictive. Repeated references to rising heat and the decision to say no more reinforce the idea that this connection is driven by instinct, allowing desire to take the lead. What makes especially compelling is how effortlessly it balances control with temptation. While the lyrics describe being drawn in, there's no sense of vulnerability or uncertainty. Instead, MISAMO presents desire as something they command, not something that overpowers them. This confidence is echoed in the song's sleek R&B-infused J-pop production, which feels smooth and sophisticated while remaining deliberately restrained. The instrumentation creates a slow-burn atmosphere, pun intended, giving the track a luxurious edge that aligns perfectly with the unit's mature image. Overall, this song plays like a flirtation wrapped in elegance. It's playful and intense, but by the end, it becomes more understated and deeply seductive. It doesn't rush toward a climax, instead lingering in the moment where attraction is at its strongest. And I have to say, similarly to Confetti, when I first heard the song, I was a bit disappointed by the ending. I felt it sort of killed the momentum. But after a few listens and reading the lyrics, it's now become one of my favorite parts of the album as a whole. It really does feel like the moment that attraction dawned on them. Suddenly, they were in too deep, saying, quote, "I can't help but to be drawn to you. Before I knew it, I liked you." And oh my god, the way they sing the title makes me swoon. It's so addictive and sensual, it just makes me want to keep replaying it. In the context of the album and their discography as a whole, this song reinforces the concepts they have centered themselves around, as well as their artistic identity as a unit, unafraid to explore allure and desire with poise, framing sensuality not as crass behavior, but as confidence in its purest form, and I love it. Not a Goodbye. Building off the slower end of our last track, Not a Goodbye stands as one of the album's most emotionally impactful songs. It's centered on the quiet strength of an enduring connection. Rather than framing distance as loss or finality, the song gently reframes separation as something temporary, a pause rather than an ending. Lyrically, it focuses on choosing presence over absence, emphasizing the importance of holding on to what they lived now instead of fearing what might change or become the future. There's a sense of reassurance woven throughout the song. It's offering comfort both to the person being addressed and to the listener themselves. What makes Not a Goodbye particularly poignant is its emphasis on continuity. The lyrics highlight cherished togetherness, shared time, memories, and the desire to remain woven into someone's daily life, even when physical closeness isn't always possible. Instead of dramatizing heartbreak, the song leans into emotional maturity, suggesting that true connection doesn't disappear simply because circumstances shift. Love, in this case, isn't defined by constant proximity, but by intention and emotional presence. To me, this song didn't feel like your run-of-the-mill breakup track. It felt as a sort of see you later to fans. I could speculate this meaning a pause in group activities or an indefinite hiatus, but I don't want to think about that, okay? Sonically and thematically, the track maintains a tender, reflective atmosphere that allows its message to breathe. Their gentle delivery reinforces the sincerity of the lyrics, making the song feel intimate and honest rather than performative. Within play, Not a Goodbye acts as a grounding moment, a reminder that amidst allure and spectacle, there is also vulnerability and a deep belief in the bonds that endure beyond a single moment in time, whether that be between the members or within fans. Deep Eden. Continuing on with a more dramatic and conceptual song, Deep Eden is one of this album's most immersive and cinematic tracks, exploring intimacy through control and mental connection rather than purely physical closeness. From the opening lines, the song invites the listener into a private psychological space, repeatedly asking a partner to step into the mind and breathe within it. This framing suggests a bond that goes beyond surface-level attraction, one rooted in shared thoughts and emotional vulnerability that leads to a mutual surrender. Lyrically, the track balances allure with authority. Assertive declarations like "everything is mine" and "you are mine" aren't presented as aggression, but as confidence. This positions the members as directors of this shared world rather than passive participants. There's a sense of deliberate control, as if the relationship itself is being carefully orchestrated. This dynamic adds a seductive tension to the song, where intimacy becomes something consciously shaped rather than simply felt. The title metaphor of Deep Eden refers to a hidden internal paradise, a lush secret space that exists beneath the surface. Described through imagery of velvet shadows and timeless beauty, it represents a world where classic elegance and modern desire coexist. This internal Eden isn't innocent or naive, it's refined and intentionally secluded, heightening the track's sense of mystery and exclusivity. Structurally, the song treats romance like a cinematic production. Lyrics like "frame by frame" and "rewrite the lines" transform emotional connection into a visual narrative, as if the members are both the protagonist and the directors of their own film. This aligns seamlessly with play's theatrical concept, reinforcing the idea that love, like performance, is something carefully staged and emotionally intentional. Sonically, Deep Eden brings this vision to life through a striking blend of trap rhythms and traditional instrumentation, including strings and marimba. The result is a soundscape that feels dramatic yet controlled, combining moments of high energy without losing its sophistication. The layered production mirrors the song's themes, creating an atmosphere that feels dark, alluring, and undeniably cinematic, making Deep Eden one of the album's most compelling and conceptually rich moments. For me, the song is a bit of a hit or miss. While I find it fascinating, I think you can tell with how in-depth I went, sometimes something still feels off. Maybe this uncanny feeling is purposeful, but it's still missing something. The chorus to me felt a bit underwhelming. I was waiting for it to build up to something grand and worthy of this cinematic atmosphere, but by the time it started, it felt unsatisfactory. The outro does do a good job of switching the instrumentation for something even more dramatic, providing a sense of urgency, but it felt too little too late. So honestly, I go back and forth on this track. Sometimes I like it, and other times I just skip it. Red Diamond. Moving right along, we have Red Diamond. To me, this is full "see you next Tuesday" if you catch my drift. I've noticed a pattern that every album of theirs has a song that fits this archetype, and every single time it ends up being one of my favorites. This song centers around individuality and unwavering self-worth. Shocker. Built around the metaphor of the rarest gemstone, the song frames inner strength as something forged under immense pressure, not something fragile, but something refined through adversity. Because of this, rather than portraying hardship as damaging, the lyrics reframe it as essential, suggesting that every challenge faced only sharpens one's clarity and brilliance. Throughout the song, the idea of a quote, unbreakable heart takes center stage. This strength isn't in your face, but rather deeply rooted, narratively allowing the members to carve out their own vision and sense of purpose. The lyrics imply that scars and obstacles don't weaken identity. Instead, they act as the polishing process that allows their true character to shine. To me, this functions as both a personal affirmation as well as a reminder to listeners that growth is often born from discomfort. The chorus expands this idea outward, emphasizing individuality and rarity. By declaring they are one of a kind, when viewed from an inspirational aspect, the song dismantles comparison and competition, reinforcing that worth is inherent rather than earned. It becomes a statement of self-recognition instead of being a cocky remark. I honestly rather take it as a bad bitch anthem over something inspirational, since that makes the lyrics a bit too cheesy for me. Still, having the versatility to interpret them as an acknowledgement that everyone possesses this diamond-like quality within themselves, regardless of external validation, is still pretty cool. If I want to get real English teacher, what do the blue curtains mean? We can expand on this further. The symbolism of the color red adds another layer of depth to the track. Red represents passion, intensity, emotional fire, the heat required to forge something as rare as a red diamond. This passion fuels the song's confidence, as the members assert their right to walk on their own stage of life with dignity and self-assurance, free from the need to become anyone else. Was that as uncool as it felt? Or did I cook a little bit with that, Let me know in the comments. Honestly, the song is just a vibe. The beat and lyrics lend itself to be this album's version of Runway off of Haute Couture. Not as up-tempo, but still runway adjacent. It's honestly a standout for me. My only gripe is that it's criminally short, but unfortunately, that's a trend that a few of the songs fall into. Do I think this song would benefit from a bridge and final chorus? Of course, but unfortunately, we didn't get one. I'll get over it. Catch My Eye. Upping the fun factor, Catch My Eye thrives on the electric tension of attraction at first glance, capturing that split second where curiosity turns into fascination. This song is undeniably catchy and fun. It centers on the power of a gaze. No, not that kind. The moment where your eyes meet across the room and the world briefly narrows to just your connection. Truly a YN moment. Lyrically, it explores the thrill of being pulled in by someone's presence, questioning whether the feeling is something magical and meaningful or merely a fleeting spark that will disappear as quickly as it appeared. The track paints its atmosphere through vivid cocktail and flavor metaphors, placing the listener in a sophisticated, high-energy social setting filled with movement and anticipation. Genuinely, the vibe this song paints is immaculate. These details give it a polished nightlife elegance where their attraction feels intoxicating and slightly dangerous, like a drink that's too sweet to resist. This sensory imagery coupled with the horns heighten the sense of immediacy, making the connection feel both exciting and unreal. What truly defines Catch My Eye for me is its emotional duality. The lyrics balance intuition versus instinct, with one voice offering caution while the other urges surrender. There's an internal debate whether moving forward or pulling back, navigating the blurred line between truth and illusion. This tension adds depth to the song, preventing it from becoming a simple love at first sight narrative and instead framing attraction as a moment of choice. While comparing love or being in love to drinking isn't original, I feel they pull it off great. In the context of this album, it carries its themes and overall ambiance perfectly. Despite their uncertainty, the members never lose their sense of control or pride, a running theme on this album. Instead, they position themselves not as passive participants, but as the undeniable focal point of the encounter, both fully aware of their allure and confident in the attention they command. Truly, chef's kiss, another one of my favorites. Kitty. We are now entering the member solos, starting off with Momo's Kitty. The song arrives as a fierce and unapologetic solo moment for Momo built around raw confidence and independence. Honestly, nothing new from her solos in the past, so I definitely feel the album I made for her stands the test of time. If you haven't seen it, I gave the Twice Girls solo albums last year for a video. link in the iCard to the video as well as the short playing the tracks I curated. This time around, it's using cat-like imagery as its foundation as it deliberately subverts expectations of softness or cuteness. Instead, it presents a sharp, predatory persona that's sleek and alert, but dangerous when underestimated. The song references claws and instinct to position Momo as someone who is always in control and aware of her power, and is unafraid to use it, once again building on several themes from this project. Lyrically, the song emphasizes autonomy and self-determination. This kitty moves on her own terms, refusing to be contained or defined by anyone else's expectations. There's a playful edge to this dominance. I get the feeling that she enjoys the chase precisely because she never allows herself to be caught. The confidence isn't forced or aggressive, it's effortless, grounded in the knowledge that she sets the rules. And I mean, come on now, it's Momo. I do whatever she says. As the group's main dancer, Momo turns Kitty into a fully embodied performance piece. The song places rhythm and movement at its core with lyrics that directly reference motion and timing. Every beat feels designed for sharp footwork, precise hits, and controlled fluidity, transforming the stage into her territory. It's less about storytelling through words and more about expression through the body. Sonically, the heavy bass and hip-hop influences provide a powerful backbone for Momo's delivery, amplifying her cool, swaggy presence. Her distinct rap flow cuts through the track with confidence, showcasing a side of her artistry that feels personal and self-assured, but also familiar given her other solo work both within the group and Twice as a whole. The best way I could describe this song is that it feels like it was made for a main dancer in the best way possible. I can just imagine her eating this choreo up like usual. My Cherry. Time for the most upsetting song. Not cause it's bad, but we'll get into it. My Cherry blossoms as a vibrant retro funk pop celebration of self-confidence, elegance, and fully embracing one's personal value. Rather than presenting confidence as cocky or confrontational, the song frames it as something refined, an inner certainty that doesn't need validation. Lyrically, it emphasizes taking ownership of one's worth and refusing to let others dictate it. The track's elegant imagery plays a crucial role in shaping its identity. References to walking down the Champs-Élysées evokes a sense of sophistication and glamour, reinforcing a mature persona that moves throughout the world with intention. I don't know if I butchered that pronunciation, I'm sorry. The song does a great job of showing that this confidence isn't rooted in blind perfection, but in self-awareness, knowing who you are and carrying yourself accordingly. The repeated emphasis on elegance highlights a form of power that feels effortless rather than forced, once again a common theme throughout the project. At the heart of the song is the cherry metaphor, which frames the narrator as the finishing touch or the element that completes the picture. Literally, the cherry on top. Described as grown and so delicious, the cherry symbolizes maturity, radiance, and completeness, suggesting a version of the self that has fully ripened through experience. This metaphor transforms self-love into something celebratory rather than defensive, portraying this confidence as joyfully earned. The song also acknowledges transformation, subtly weaving in past struggles and tears as a part of that growth. Rather than ignoring hardship, My Cherry recognizes that pain deepens character, enriching one's flavor and emotional depth. It's energetic, funky, and irresistibly catchy. This track perfectly reflects Sana's signature charm, warm, radiant, and powerful in its own way. However, the one downside is that it's criminally short. Like, the song is not even 2 minutes, bro. Sana went into the booth, recorded a few lines and dipped, and to me, the song suffers because of it. Just when you're getting into it, it comes to an end. No bridge, no change up, just the next song right after. Genuinely, the first time I heard the song, I was like, wait, did Sana not get a solo this time? And skipped back only to be duped. I feel it could have easily used an additional minute or minute and a half to flesh out the song more, but oh well. Turning Tables. Rounding out the member solos, we have Mina with Turning Tables. Similarly to Adele's, this song is built around the idea of reclaiming control and flipping the narrative in the face of doubt and opposition, but in completely different circumstances. Rather than reacting emotionally to skepticism or pressure, the song presents confidence as something calculated and deliberate. The lyrics emphasize precision and certainty, portraying the narrator as someone who understands their own power and knows exactly when and how to assert it. What sets Turning Tables apart is its refusal to frame empowerment as defiance. Instead, the confidence here feels cool and composed like other songs on the album. Lines about not being a beginner and staying lit suggest experience rather than arrogance, reinforcing the idea that this is a victory earned through skill and self-awareness and not just luck. Mina shows no hesitation or second guessing. Once she's made up her mind, the outcome feels inevitable. Sonically, the track's strong rhythmic foundation drives this sense of dominance forward. The standout saxophone elements add a sharp, stylish edge, injecting the song with both swag and sophistication. Truly, this is my favorite of the solos. The competition this time around was at a disadvantage. Momo's felt familiar to what we had in the past, not that I'm complaining, and Sana's just didn't have enough literal substance to be fairly compared to either of them. The result is Mina coming out on top. If you know how I feel about her other solo work, this was a much needed win for me. I don't love Stone Cold. The live version was pretty okay, and Misty felt disappointing to me. Identity. Technically, Turning Tables should mark the end of this album, but we have their previous singles also here. So next up is Identity. It's a bold and stylish anthem centered on individuality and unapologetic self-expression, positioning self-acceptance as a form of quiet power. The song's core message is quite clear. What makes you different is not a weakness to be corrected, but the very foundation of who you are. Rather than smoothing out edges or chasing approval, the lyrics celebrate standing firmly in one's own uniqueness, embracing every trait that contributes to a distinct sense of self. What makes Identity especially compelling in the context of this album is its refusal to seek validation. The song emphasizes walking a personal path that remains untouched by outside expectations or trends. They're unbothered and thriving because they don't need to prove anything to anyone. Their authenticity becomes magnetic rather than performative, drawing attention naturally simply by existing without compromise. Once again, topics that have been covered on this album several times. The track has this ceremonial brass-heavy production that really drives this message home. The instrumentation gives the song an almost regal atmosphere, framing individuality as something to be honored rather than hidden. I've already talked about this song a little bit when I did my album reaction, so I'll be brief. This song honestly is another standout. It's empowering and sexy. It just makes me want to walk to the beat while I'm listening to it. Hands down, a great song. I'm still confused as to why they included it on the album, but nevertheless, I'm glad it's here. Do Not Touch. Taking us back to where it all began, we have Do Not Touch, one of MISAMO's most impactful and sophisticated statements, directly addressing themes of personal boundaries, consent, and self-worth through elegant metaphor rather than confrontation. The song is framed around museum signage placed beside priceless artwork. The song likens the members to rare masterpieces. They are valuable and deserving of respect. This imagery immediately establishes distance, reminding the listener that admiration does not equal access. Lyrically, the song is clear and unapologetic about agency. While appreciation and attention are welcomed, physical closeness is presented as something that must be earned through trust and comfort. The repeated emphasis on choice reinforces that consent is not implied or automatic, it's actively given. This clarity gives the song its strength, transforming what could have been a defensive message into one rooted in confidence and self-assurance. Once again, tying into the album's broader themes. I feel like a broken record at this point. Sonically, the smooth R&B production mirrors this balance, maintaining an air of elegance and restraint that matches the song's message. From the very first listen, I knew I would love this song, and many years later, I still do. It serves as a great message to younger fans as well, because while it can be interpreted as consent in a romantic relationship, you can apply the message to any type of relationship, especially in a fan-idol dynamic. That can be a whole separate video in the future, but TLDR, the song was great when it came out, and it's still great to this day. Message. Message serves as the emotional closing chapter of Play, functioning less like a typical album track and more like a handwritten letter addressed directly to fans. As a mid-tempo ballad, it slows the pace intentionally, creating space for reflection after the theatrical highs and confident declarations that define the rest of the record. The song looks back on MISAMO's journey with warmth and sincerity, acknowledging the support that carried them to this final act of their artistic trilogy. Lyrically, Message centers on gratitude and lasting connection. It speaks to a bond that transcends physical distance, emphasizing that even when they are far apart, the emotional thread between artist and listener never weakens. The repeated focus on honest words and voices highlights communication as the foundation of that relationship. The idea that what truly connects them is in proximity, but shared trust and mutual belief, tying back to Not a Goodbye. What gives the song its weight is how it frames this support as something timeless rather than situational. These aren't fleeting moments of applause, but an enduring presence, implying that the messages that existed from the very beginning still continue to resonate. By positioning these words as a source of strength, the song acknowledges how deeply that support shaped their confidence and creative freedom throughout the trilogy. As the final track following songs from Masterpiece and Haute Couture, Message feels like the closing credits rolling after a long, carefully crafted performance. It doesn't aim to dazzle, it bows gracefully, thanking the audience for standing in the spotlight with them. In doing so, it transforms Play from a collection of songs into a complete narrative, ending not with spectacle, but with sincerity and appreciation. I have to say, I hadn't heard this one when going into this album, so it felt genuinely refreshing to end it like this. Tying to what I said in the beginning, when you listen on loop, Confetti gives that more celebratory sense of finality right after the slightly sadder tone of this one. Final album thoughts. With Play, MISAMO delivered a project that feels both cohesive and multifaceted, weaving together themes of confidence, identity, attraction, personal boundaries, and emotional connection. Throughout the album, the trio explored different dimensions of self-expression, from bold declarations of individuality to more intimate reflections on relationships and personal growth. Each track contributes a new perspective, creating a narrative that moves between strength, curiosity, vulnerability, and ultimately gratitude. A recurring thread across the album is the idea of ownership, owning one's identity and emotions, but also one's personal boundaries. Songs that emphasize self-worth and independence highlight the importance of defining oneself without outside validation, while tracks centered around attraction and connection acknowledge the excitement and complexity of human relationships. Together, these moments paint a portrait of confidence that is not one-dimensional, but layered and evolving. The album also reinforces MISAMO's elegant and performance-driven identity. Much like a stage production, Play unfolds through distinct acts, powerful opening statements of self-assurance, playful and magnetic explorations of chemistry and allure, and finally a reflective closing that turns towards the fans who supported the journey. This theatrical structure mirrors the trio's strengths as performers, blending musical storytelling with the sense of spectacle that defines their artistry. By the time the album reaches its final moments, the message feels clear. Confidence is not just about standing alone, but about understanding one's worth while still embracing connection with others. In that sense, Play becomes more than just a studio album. It feels like the culmination of the artistic path MISAMO began with Masterpiece and continued throughout Haute Couture. Taken as a whole, the album captures MISAMO at a point of complete self-assurance, celebrating Mina, Sana, and Momo's individuality while reinforcing the powerful chemistry they share as a trio. Like the final bow after a carefully staged performance, Play closes with a sense of fulfillment, a reminder that the stage and the story it tells would not exist without the audience standing alongside them. The Importance of MISAMO. Closing out this video, I wanted to touch on this subject. MISAMO holds a unique and meaningful place within both Twice and the broader landscape of K-pop. The trio represents more than just a subunit project. It's a celebration of the group's Japanese members and their cultural influence within a genre that continues to expand globally. Within Twice itself, MISAMO provides a platform for the three members to explore a more focused artistic identity. While Twice is known for its large-scale group dynamic and vibrant energy, the trio format allows Mina, Sana, and Momo to highlight their individual strengths with greater clarity. Like I mentioned previously, it allows Mina's graceful elegance, Sana's expressive charisma, and Momo's commanding performance ability to form a balanced trio that emphasizes sophistication, maturity, and precision. Through releases like Masterpiece, Haute Couture, and Play, they developed an artistic voice that complements Twice while also standing confidently on its own. In a broader K-pop context, MISAMO also carries a symbolic importance. The trio highlights the strong cultural exchange between South Korea and Japan within the modern idol industry. Japanese members have long played significant roles in K-pop groups, but MISAMO stands out as one of the few major subunits comprised entirely of Japanese members from a top-tier group. Their success demonstrates the increasingly international nature of K-pop, where artists can bridge languages, markets, and cultural perspectives while maintaining a cohesive identity. In many ways, MISAMO represents both evolution and celebration. a spotlight on the three Japanese members' chemistry, creativity, and individuality, while also expanding the world of Twice into something more intimate and stylish, while also remaining narratively cohesive. Twice pioneered the J-line in K-pop that would then go on to be, in my opinion, a pivotal aspect of other groups, most popularly the Mnet survival groups. Having that many foreign members was already groundbreaking, but the fact that down the line they branched off and promoted in their home country to massive success while still remaining in the main group is something truly remarkable and worthy of praise and celebration. Additionally, MISAMO's music leans into a more refined and mature aesthetic compared to many traditional idol releases. Their work emphasizes elegance and confidence, showcasing how K-pop artists can evolve into new career spaces as their career progresses. This evolution reflects a broader shift within the industry, where established idols are increasingly exploring subunits and specialized concepts that allow for deeper artistic expression instead of having a set expiration date. Ultimately, MISAMO's significance lies in how seamlessly they balance multiple roles. They are ambassadors of Twice's global reach, representatives of Japan's artistry within K-pop, and performers who have crafted a distinctive identity of their own. By doing so, the trio not only strengthens the legacy of Twice, but also highlights the increasingly international and creatively diverse future of the genre. And that to me is enough to make me want to press play. Jesus Christ, that was so long. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. I went a bit off the deep end while writing this because I have a fear this might be their last release. I obviously hope that's not the case, but it felt like they tied everything up with a bow and gifted it to us as a farewell. Because of this, I wanted to do this as a labor of love to really drive the point across of how much I love these girls. Genuinely, I'm very surprised at how cohesive both sonically and thematically all three projects are without being too samey. Truly a masterpiece, if you will. But anyways, I've already spoken long enough. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Click that bell icon so you're notified every time I post a video. Tell me in the comments down below which song was your favorite and what project do you prefer the most. While Masterpiece has a soft spot in my heart, I'd have to say this is my favorite since we get the best of both worlds. But that's just me. Remember that I love you all so much, and I will see you guys hopefully very, very soon. Bye!